Hi, everybody, and welcome to the weekend, and welcome to Good Day Arlington on NBC Sports Chicago. Howard Sudberry along with Alyssa Ali, and it is a big, big day today, besides the royal wedding. It is Preakness Day, and we have a stakes race here at Arlington. And Alyssa, shortly, I'm going to tell you a story that ties the Queen of England and the Royals into Arlington and a race today.
I'll be on the edge of my seat waiting for
like
that,
everybody
Howard.
else at home, right?
Yes. I'm so intrigued.
And a couple numbers I thought were interesting. 21 million Americans got up and watched the royal wedding. 2 billion people worldwide. Isn't that staggering?
That's a lot, but I don't know if it meets our Good Day Arlington audience.
I think we're a close second.
Maybe.
So
Maybe a dead heat?
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, are you ready for my story?
I'm ready.
As you know, the Queen of England loves horse racing, and they have a meet at Ascot Racecourse every year, the royal meeting, and she leaves Windsor Castle in her carriage and has a procession and comes over. Anyway, a horse that's running today, and the morning line favorite in the Arlington Matron a little bit later on today by the name of Conte Partiro, won at Royal Ascot last year, and the owner and the trainer get to go up and have tea with the Queen.
That's a perfect tie-in.
Neat.
So it's a good story. I'll give you that absolutely, Howard. We also actually have the Queen's silks.
You actually complimented me?
I know. I'm in rare form this morning, that's for sure. But we actually have the Queen's silks on display here at Arlington as well. Many years ago, she sent a horse to run here at Arlington and then sent her silks, and they're on display. So we really do have a connection. Royal wedding today, Arlington racing, Preakness Stakes, it all goes full circle.
Yeah, they are. The Queen Silks are right down there next to the winner of the previous Arlington Million from last year, who was Beach Patrol. All right, Preakness Stakes today is between our 8th and 9th races on this 9-race card, and the heavy favorite, obviously, the Kentucky Derby winner, Justify. But let's let history be our guide, Alyssa, as we take a look at this graphic, and we're going to try and show you how you can make some money even if the Kentucky Derby winner wins the race. Now, these are the last 10 winners of the Preakness, and one thing that you'll notice on here, 6 out of the 10 in here did not win the Kentucky Derby, Alyssa.
Huh. 6 out of 10.
That's all you got?
No, yeah, I'm looking at it, though, because we're going to talk about, the heavy favorite that Justify is going to be. And 31 of the last 35 Preakness winners ran in the Derby. And you and I were talking before we came on air that the Derby and Belmont is much more unpredictable than the Preakness. So the favorites tend to win, but you're talking about exactas here to trying to make that money and figuring out who's going to get second, right?
Well, yeah, look at this. California Chrome paid $3 to win. The exacta was still $18.20, which isn't the end of the world. You look at Rachel Alexander when she won $5.60. $39.20 is exacta.
Yeah.
Big Brown only paid $2.40 to win, and the exacta was $36.60. So what does that tell you when you look at these exacta numbers is that very often the favorite wins the race. Many times a long shot comes in and runs second.
Yeah, so we're gonna look at a little bit closer, and we'll talk to our guest about the Preakness as well. But so there is a chance to make some money even if Justify does win the second leg of the Triple Crown at Pimlico today. So we'll take a closer look. But that was pretty fun to look at.
Yeah,
some ways to make money.
I will try to hit a superfecta, and they always pay pretty well. Let's talk about the weather, not only here, but out in Baltimore, Alyssa.
Yeah, here 75 degrees and cloudy. It's not the best, that's for sure, but it's much, much worse in Baltimore, unfortunately. So again, the second leg of the Triple Crown held at Pimlico Racecourse, and it doesn't look good. About 67 degrees, isolated storms throughout the day. The track is off. I think only one race is being run on the turf course on that card today. So unfortunately, not great in Baltimore. Better here. So there's for the optimist.
Yeah, we're cloudy here, no rain, and we are on the turf course. Listen, right now we're going to get our weekly sports wrap up. The Cubs did what you're supposed to do to the Cincinnati Reds last night. They pounded them, and we're going to get that and more. And the wrap up from ESPN 1000's Fred Hubner. Fred.
After an hour-and-a-half rain delay, the Cubs bats went to work in Cincinnati with 5 straight hits and a 3-0 first-inning lead on their way to an 8-1 win over the Reds. John Lester retired 10 of the first 11 batters he faced. He allowed just 2 hits over 6 innings and even drove in a run. Addison Russell had 4 hits, and Anthony Rizzo drove in a pair of runs. The Cubs play a day-night doubleheader in Cincinnati, weather permitting, today. On the south side, Carson Fulmer's struggles continued. The right-hander gave up 8 runs over just 2+ innings as Texas pounded the White Sox 12-5. As for Fulmer, he was sent down to Charlotte after the game. Nicky Delmonico will miss 4 to 6 weeks after fracturing a finger when he was hit by a pitch. Lucas Giolito goes this evening. The NBA playoffs resume tonight with Boston looking to go up 3-0 against LeBron and the Cavs in Cleveland. And in hockey, the Las Vegas Golden Knights are just one win away from advancing to the Stanley Cup Finals. From the ESPN 1000 Sports Desk, I'm Fred Hupner.
All right, Fred, thank you very much. And as always, we want to hear from people on social media.
We absolutely do, Howard. And we did a Twitter poll here. So we want to know if you think Justify, who obviously won the Kentucky Derby, will win the second leg of the Triple Crown today, the Preakness Stakes. Take our Twitter poll. Go on Twitter and tweet us at Arlington_Park. Will Justify win the Preakness Stakes today? Also, you can enter to win some great prizes if you visit arlingtonpark.com/GDA.
And how about that? Tickets to Cubs game.
Love it.
Right? All right, Good Day Arlington is brought to you by one of our proud sponsors, and that is Tito's Handmade Vodka, the preferred vodka of Arlington International Racecourse. And coming up next, we'll get some insight into today's Preakness and maybe get his take on the Cubs. Former LA Dodgers catcher turned racing analyst Paul LaDuca joins us live on Good Day Arlington when we continue.
Pure royalty. Take your Triple Crown game up a notch and purchase a VIP ticket for an all-inclusive red carpet experience at Arlington International Racecourse for the 2018 Triple Crown races. Preakness Stakes Day, May 19th. Belmont Stakes Day, June 9th. Watch and wager at Arlington.
A lot of people don't like kind of the way that our package looks because it's not a frosted, see-through painted bottle. I'm from San Antonio, and I didn't understand that Gucci, fancy stuff. It's just kind of a regular bottle with regular cap, paper label. And I always just figured if you're going to pay for something, you pay for the juice because that's what you're going to drink. You don't have to pay another $4 or $5 for a fancy bottle. My bottle was designed by me, and I'm a geologist, so of course I liked it.
Well, Howard, while we wait to figure out if Paul's going to be joining us, we're going to talk a lot more about the Preakness as well. The weather, the off-track. We talked about the Kentucky Derby, that's been an off-track 5 out of the 6 last Kentucky Derbies. I'm not sure about the Preakness Stakes, though. I feel like it's usually a little bit better for the second leg, but unfortunately the horses are going to be facing another off-track at Pimlico here today for the second leg of the Triple Crown, which do you think bodes well, again, for Justify and even Good Magic to prove themselves on and off track?
Well, Justify had won on an off track before the Kentucky Derby.
Right.
Now he won easily on an off track in the Kentucky Derby. Good Magic ran a big race, one of his best races. He only got beat 2.5 lengths. So I think the slop's not the issue for them. But really, as we know, anything can happen in a horse race. So if Justify stumbles out of the gate, doesn't get away well, he gets buried behind 3 or 4 horses and starts getting mud kicked in his face. That's the uncertainty of it. But he usually breaks well. Mike Smith's going to get him out of there. I just think at a short price, he's going to be very hard to beat.
I do as well. And do you think, though, that let's say it was a fast main track at Pimlico here today. Obviously, not obviously, I guess, but Justify's still the one to beat based on his performance in the Derby and before? Or do you think some other horses would have had more of the chance to jump up?
Yeah, I don't, I'm not going to pick Good Magic to win. I think they have a very good chance of running first, second in this race. As we pointed out in the first section when we showed those big exactas, here's what could happen. If Justify is the real deal, a lot of people think he's a superstar in the making, and he's out in front. If Good Magic exerts himself and goes after him and gets tired, you could see a longer shot come in and run second and get a decent exacta. But to me, I'll try and play a superfecta and try and get a longer shot to run third or fourth. That's just my philosophy in betting the race. But the way it looks now, now, it's going to be difficult to make a lot of money because I expect Justify to win.
I do too, a little bit, but I am going to try to beat him. And I think there's one horse in there, right, that it has the best shot, and it's Good Magic. And we'll talk about that more too. We'll want to see what you're thinking on Twitter as well. Who was just freaking out there, warming up on the track?
I don't know who that was, but I did see Sporting Chance is one of the horses that is in for D. Wayne Lucas, and he refused to train the other day, which I don't think is the best sign in the world. But D. Wayne Lucas has won many Triple Crown races over the years. There we get a look at Bob Baffert showing off the Kentucky Derby winner, grand-looking chestnut. As you know, I'm really fond of chestnuts. It reminds me of Secretariat. He is a grand-looking racehorse and, undefeated in 4 races. He turns around in 2 weeks. That's usually the concern. These horses are coming back, on short rest, but he's only run 4 times. So I think he'll be ready to fire. But the slop doesn't bother me. And it's interesting. Once the Kentucky Derby is over, and you see a horse like that everybody was touting, you wonder why you didn't pick them. But it's easy in hindsight.
It's always easy in hindsight. We're talking, though, about obviously Justify maybe being one of those contenders to win the Triple Crown. Will he join the ranks of American Pharoah? Obviously, we're not going to know until after 5:48 Central here when the Preakness Stakes is run. But you looking at him, Howard, right now, are there any comparisons you would make to American Pharoah? I know, we had Johnny Morris on the set on Derby Day, and there was a lot of question marks essentially on Justify, meaning he hadn't raced at another track, didn't race it as a 2-year-old. Obviously, he proved us wrong on Derby Day. So are there some comparisons that you would make personally, or even that you've read about? Maybe he is like American Pharoah. Do I get to see 2 Triple Crown winners in my lifetime?
Well, the one thing that I would say, everybody was worried about him not running as a 2-year-old. I never paid any attention to that because now training patterns are different.
Yes.
They give horses a lot more time, the trainers do, between races. They're patient with them, so that really didn't bother me. I just thought that the race was set up for a closer to come, and my pick was Audible, and I also like Good Magic. I did have Justify on top in the exacta just for insurance because obviously an undefeated horse that everybody was talking about. To answer your question, lightning fast pace, and it didn't hurt him a bit. And when Good Magic ran at him, he just ran away from the field. So he has what they call in horse racing a high cruising speed. And Mike Smith, when we asked him, he was on Good Day Arlington last week, and we asked him about going too fast. His answer was, you know what, sometimes you just have to let a fast horse run fast.
He did. And
he did. And when he turned for home and Good Magic came after him, he just went after him and asked him to run a little bit, went to the left-handed whip, and he took off. So unless something funny happens today, he looks like the horse to me.
And you think that type of mentality, that type of running style can compare him to a horse like American Pharoah?
Well, I mean, so far he's got a lot to prove yet. I mean, he won the Kentucky Derby. American Pharoah completed everything, and then after you win the, there've been a lot of horses win the first 2 legs, and then they don't get it done in the mile and a half. So, I mean, there are a lot of questions to be answered, but I'm going to pick him.
All right, so you're going to pick him. I'm kind of going with, I think I'm going to try to beat him when we're talking about picks, going with Good Magic. But building a ticket obviously is a little bit different. As you mentioned, we talked on the top of the show trying to figure out who's going to come in as far as the exacta. You're talking about a superfecta. Who would you use as a long shot within your super?
I'm going to use 2 horses, I think, like in the 3rd and 4th slot. One is going to be the 2 Lone Sailor, and then I'm going to go to the outside to Bravazzo.
Okay.
And those are going to be the 2 that I'm going to use and see if I can get a price in there. And then I'll just bet it one way, in a big superfecta and hope that it pays $300 or $400 and see what happens.
And will you share that with me?
Will you put up money for the bet?
I will, actually.
Will you share the bet?
I will. I will.
That's the big question.
I will.
All right, you want to take a break?
Yeah, we'll take a break.
All right, that was fun. Good Day Arlington is brought to you in part by the Daily Herald, your source for news with an emphasis on local news. The Daily Herald, available by delivery at newsstands or delivered to your inbox at dailyherald.com. And coming up next, you've heard it a lot the last few years, Cubs win, Cubs win. Next, why you might hear it at Arlington in the near future. Welcome back to Good Day Arlington, seen live right here on NBC Sports Chicago every Saturday morning from 11 to 11:30 with Howard Sudberry, Alyssa Ali, and we're going to be seen through September 22nd. And right now we're going to be joined by Paul Ledoux.
No.
Paul Ledoux,
Hilarious.
you don't think so?
No.
No, Paul Markey, our cameraman. I think we've done the Paul Ledoux route. What do you want to talk about?
Well, we were talking about, obviously, a lot about the Preakness and looking at, maybe we take a different look. We were heavily handicapping and analyzing the race. Some people, just pick horses based on their names. Justifies a good name. Good Magic's a good name. I feel like there are some better. Me, personally, if a horse has a Harry Potter name, I got some money on him or her, like Professor McGonagall, Dumbledore. But, there's nothing wrong with picking just based on the name. And you've got a horse, you're going to talk about a horse that has a fantastic name, especially here in Chicagoland.
I love this one. I think that it started with Harry Carey back to the day with his proclamation, Cubs win. Cubs win whenever they did. When he was behind the mic, it didn't happen as often as it has the last couple of years.
That's true.
This year it has happened 23 times so far this year with the Cubs winning. And that line inspired a local horse owner to name his horse Cubs Win. He got very creative. She has great potential, but had a rough fall and winter. She almost lost an eye and almost had her racing career end. When this young filly with the catchy name came charging down the stretch last fall to win at Arlington, the fans went wild, and her future was bright. But then, later in the fall, big trouble. She wound up with an infection in her left eye, and it almost cost her the eye and her racing career.
We started treating it conservatively, and it wasn't responding. It got a lot worse, and we ended up sending her into the clinic at Rood and Riddle, and she was in there for about 45 days. She almost lost the eye, and she had an extremely large ulcer that turned into an infection, actually.
But after she was treated with a combination of antibiotics, they got it under control, and all's well that ends well.
She came through it, and by the time we got her to Florida in the winter, it had resolved itself, and she didn't lose any eyesight at all, and it's in good order now.
Now, the name. It's Cubs Win. Owner Brian Burns named her, and trainer Chris Block immediately loved it. Let's talk about the name. I know the fans love it. At least the Cubs fans do.
Absolutely, yeah. It's when Brian sent me the filly, he said, "You're never going to believe how she's named." And I said, "What?" And he said, Cubs Win." And I go, "Well, her mama's name's Cubs Fan."
And it's cool for you because you're such a Cubs fan, aren't you?
Absolutely, diehard Cubs fan. So when he sent her to me, I said, "Brian, you sent her to the right trainer."
She instantly became a fan favorite. She ran fourth in her first two starts and then made a stretch charge, and announcer John Dooley was ready with a special twist on the call.
45 seconds. There's a furlong to go. Mountain Mama has taken a short lead from a battling Karenina, and here comes Cubs Win, who's rallying in the ninth. They're inside the final 16th, and hey, Chicago, what do you say? Cubs win today. Cubs win. Fly the W.
Now, anytime the Cubs win, my phone blows up from my brother or some friends, with the W or Cubs win. So, so it's apropos that she's named Cubs Win. It's kind of neat.
It is kind of neat. And
Hey,
Cubs
Chicago,
Win is in
what do
training
you
right
say?
now, and she's doing very well and will be running shortly. Chris Block wants to get a couple more works in her, and she'll be ready to fire.
My favorite is that she's a mare. I love it because I was just thinking, Galdane, Cubs Win, whatever it was. Female horse, love it, Cubs Win. My dog's name's Wrigley. She's a girl, too, so we got it.
That's
Big
good.
Cubs fans here with Chris Block.
And a quick story, there's a one-eyed horse that ran in the
Yeah.
Kentucky Derby last year and won recently named Patch. But Chris Block was telling a story, and you know why that they can run, one-eyed?
They can, and
Yeah,
they can,
because-
especially if they're born with
they're
if they're born with the problem. They can. They've known nothing different. But if it's taken away, like that may have been for Cubs Win, it probably would have been a different story and maybe career ending.
It very well could have been, but she's doing well. We look forward to seeing her run here at Arlington. And this portion of Good Day Arlington is brought to you by our friends at International Hair Designs, a full-color salon, the hair and makeup artists of Good Day Arlington. And up next, Alyssa and I make our Preakness picks and try to find a way for you to make some money.
Miller Lite Party in the Park Fridays. At this after-work stop, good things come in threes. $3 Miller Lite, $3 food specials, and $3 vouchers. Get out of the office and into live bands, life-size yard games, and bago tournaments. Plus, jump into our pool party and Trifecta Takes Challenge every Friday for more ways to win. College students are free every Party in the Park Friday.
Tito's handmade vodka was started in 1995. There's never been a legal distillery in Texas before. Bought this land out here. It was in the middle of nowhere when I bought it, but the price was right, and so it's home sweet home. And so I built a little 16-gallon pot still and put it on a catfish fryer, and that's kind of the start of Tito's handmade vodka.
Welcome back to Good Day Arlington, live on NBC Sports Chicago, and I think most definitely people could tell it was live.
If there's one thing we know about today, it's
No
that.
question. Let's make our Preakness picks official.
Yeah, we'll make it official, but we do want to hear from everybody on social media as well. We asked at the top of the show, do you think Kentucky Derby winner Justify will win the Preakness Stakes here today? So let's take a look. On Twitter, we had 57% say, heck, yes. 50% yes, but not Triple Crown material. 28% no way. Interesting. What are your thoughts?
Well,
we do have an
I
Instagram
mean-
poll too. Let's keep looking at 76% say heck yes on Instagram. 24% say no way on Instagram.
I think that he will win today and win the Triple Crown.
You do.
Yeah.
You really do.
I do.
Did you think that about American Pharaoh?
Yeah.
Did you
Yeah.
pick American Pharaoh
Yeah.
in the Derby?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Go back to get the tape out.
I don't think
Ask
so.
Paul LaDuca.
Okay, we'll ask, but we'll make it official, showing it on the screen here. Howard going with the number 7, Justify in the Preakness Stakes. I'm going to number 5, Good Magic, but obviously, sentimentally, I would love for Justify to win the Triple Crown, so if you beat me today, that is A-okay. But it's not part of Sudberry versus Ali.
Okay. No,
Okay.
we're going to pick the Arlington Matron, which
Yes.
is a grade 3 race here at Arlington today, race 7.
Yes, and you can come and watch the Preakness Stakes here at Arlington. Watch and wager at Arlington. It will go off between our races 8 and 9. Howard, a lot going on today for Preakness Stakes, our stakes race here. A lot going on next weekend, though, as well. It is Memorial Day weekend. We started off on May 25th with College Day, dollar beers, free general admission for college students, a lot of fun. And then Saturday, we go into All American Affair.
All American Affair as we celebrate these 4 days of racing for Memorial Day weekend right through the Monday.
And then State Fair Family Day on Sunday, and of course, Arlington Heights Community Day on Sunday as well. Howard, really looking forward to hosting Arlington Heights residents.
Yes, we're going to have Arlington Heights residents. They're going to have a promo code. They can get in a little cheaper. We're going to have the mayor and a lot of people from the city of Arlington Heights, village of Arlington Heights, and also an act from the Metropolis Theater will perform. So it's going to be a good day.
We're looking forward to it. Ticket and event information all online at arlingtonpark.com. But now let's check in with track announcer John G. Dooley for a sneak peek of next week.
Next week on Good Day Arlington, we're home of the free because of the brave. Good Day Arlington welcomes Al Mampry, World War II veteran featured in HBO's Band of Brothers on Memorial Day weekend. Plus, as Arlington celebrates Arlington Heights Community Day on May 27th, Alyssa and Howard visit one of Arlington Heights locals' favorite restaurants, Preaky.
And the cool part about that piece is we met Peggy.
Yes, the namesake of Peggy Cananes.
She was in from Ireland, and we got to interview her, and I think people are going to find it very interesting, and we tasted some of their fantastic food, so we can't wait to welcome the village of Arlington Heights out
Absolutely.
here next Sunday.
It's going to be a lot of fun. That's all next weekend at Arlington, though. Good Day Arlington airs 11 a.m. Saturday on May 26th. You can get to see that feature, and maybe we had a Guinness, but we'll see next week.
We may have had a Guinness. We might have one right now, if you want to know the
Please.
truth. That's going to do it for Good Day Arlington. 9 races today, including the Preakness Stakes. And that's all for Good Day Arlington. I'm Howard Sudberry for Alyssa Ali and Paul LaDuca. Thanks for watching, and we will see you next week.